Ethan left my hospital room while I was bleeding through a paper gown because Olivia Reed was cutting a pink cake across town. His mother posted the photos 20 minutes later, smiling beside Olivia's ultrasound with the caption, "At last, a blessing for our family." I did not scream when I saw it. I took off my wedding ring, placed it in the plastic cup beside my hospital bed and asked the nurse for every form that still had my husband's name on it. "Are you sure?" she asked gently. I looked at the empty chair where Ethan had promised to stay. "Yes," I said, "remove him from all of it." The first cramp hit me in the parking garage under Ethan's office building. It was not the small, annoying pain my pregnancy app warned me about. It was sharp and low, like something inside me had snapped tight and refused to let go. I bent over the steering wheel and tried to breathe through it, one hand pressed under my coat, the other gripping my phone. I had been 12 weeks pregnant for 2 days. 12 weeks was supposed to mean safer. It was supposed to mean I could finally tell people without whispering. It was supposed to mean the tiny secret Ethan and I had kept through years of disappointment, tests, needles, and quiet tears might finally become real. Instead, I looked down and saw blood. For a moment my mind emptied. Then I called Ethan. He picked up on the fourth ring, breathless. Behind him I heard voices, glassware, music. "Claire," he said, "I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you back? I'm bleeding." The noise behind him faded. A chair scraped. "What?" "I'm bleeding," I said again, and this time my voice cracked. "I'm in the garage. I think something is wrong. Stay there, I'm coming." He was at my car in 6 minutes. I remembered that later because I checked the call log. 6 minutes from his office elevator to my passenger door, 6 minutes in which he was still my husband. His face had gone pale. He helped me into his car, kept one hand on my shoulder at every red light and said all the things panicked husbands say when they are trying to convince themselves the world is not breaking. "It might be nothing." Dr. Patel said, "Spotting can happen. You're going to be fine. We're going to be fine." At the emergency room, a nurse pushed me into triage. Ethan signed the first clipboard because my hands were shaking. He wrote his name under emergency contact, spouse, authorized person, medical decision maker. He wrote his name everywhere like he belonged there. For the first hour, he did. He sat beside me while they took my blood pressure. He held my coat while a nurse started and he kissed the side of my head when I stared at the ceiling and tried not to ask God for bargains I had no right to demand. Then his phone rang. I knew the ringtone because it was different from everyone else's. Soft piano, Olivia. Ethan looked at the screen and turned it over. I saw it anyway. The nurse, Dana, glanced at him. She had kind eyes and grey hair pulled into a tight bun. "You can take that outside if you need to." "No," Ethan said too quickly. "It's fine." The phone stopped, then it started again. This time a text banner flashed across the screen. "Please, I can't do this without you." I was lying on a hospital bed with blood between my thighs, and another woman was telling my husband she could not do this without him. I looked at him. He looked away. "Call her," I said. "Claire, call her. She clearly needs something." He swallowed. "It's Olivia's dinner tonight." I stared at him. "What dinner?" He rubbed one hand over his face. "Her announcement. She's telling everyone about the baby." Everyone. I had not told anyone about mine. I had wanted to wait until the next ultrasound. I had wanted proof beyond hope. I had wanted to stop seeing pity in people's eyes every time another month passed and my body failed to become a home. Olivia Reed had no such fear, apparently. "Your mother knows?" I asked. "She knows Olivia is pregnant, and tonight is a party." "It's not a party." I heard laughter through the phone. When it rang again, it sounded like a party. Ethan stood. "I'll just step out for a minute." My fingers closed around the thin hospital blanket. "Don't leave." He froze. I did not beg often. Marriage had taught me the price of begging. Begging gave people a script. It told them exactly where to press. But that night I begged. "Please," I said, "don't leave me here." His face twisted. For 1 second. I saw the man who had cried with me in our bathroom after the second failed treatment, the man who had pressed his forehead to my stomach at 5 weeks and whispered, "Stay with us." Then the phone rang again. He looked at it like it was a hand pulling him by the collar. "Olivia has no one," he said. I almost laughed. "She has your mother, your sister, half your family. It's complicated. I'm bleeding. They haven't even confirmed anything yet. You heard the nurse. It could be spotting." I could not believe he was explaining my blood to me. "Ethan," I said slowly, "if you walk out that door, something changes." His expression hardened. "Not much, just enough." "Don't do this right now." "Do what?" "Make me choose in a hospital hallway." "You already are." He looked at the curtain around my bed, at the 4 in my hand, at the monitor ticking steadily beside me. He looked everywhere except at my face. "I'll be back in an hour." He said it like a compromise, then he left. Nurse Dana came in 3 minutes later and found me staring at the gap in the curtain. "Your husband stepped out." "Yes. Do you have someone else I can call?" I shook my head first because pride is a stupid animal. Then another pain tore through me, harder than the first, and pride lost. "My sister," I whispered. "Maya Bennett." Dana wrote it down. After that, the night became lights, gloves, blood pressure cuffs, a wheelchair, and the cold pressure of an ultrasound wand. Dr. Patel arrived with her hair still damp from a shower, wearing sneakers under her hospital coat. I had never been so grateful to see a familiar face. "Claire," she said, taking my hand. "I'm here." That was all it took. I cried, not loudly, not beautifully, just a broken, breathless leaking of fear I could not hold back anymore. The ultrasound room was dim. The technician's jaw tightened as she moved the wand. Dr. Patel watched the screen without speaking. Silence in a hospital is never empty. It is full of things professionals are trying to confirm before they destroy you with them. Finally, Dr. Patel touched my arm. "Claire, I need to explain what we're seeing." I stared at the ceiling. "You were carrying twins." The sentence landed strangely, not with joy, not with shock, just with a terrible sense of being late to my own happiness. "Were?" I asked. "One sac no longer has cardiac activity." My body went numb. "But," she continued gently, "the second fetus still has a heartbeat." I turned my head toward her. "What?" "There is still one heartbeat. It's strong right now, but this is a threatened miscarriage. You need rest, monitoring, and follow-up. We are going to do everything we can." One gone. One still here. Grief and hope collided so violently inside me that I could not breathe. "I need Ethan," I said, "because pain makes fools of us." Dana checked the chart. We called the number on file. He didn't answer. Dr. Patel said quietly. I closed my eyes. An hour later, Maya arrived in a wrinkled sweatshirt, hair wild, face white with fear. She ran to my bed and took my hand without asking anything first. "Where is he?" she asked. I did not answer. She looked at my face and knew. At 9:18 p.m., while Maya was arguing with a vending machine and Dr. Patel was ordering another blood test, my phone lit up, not with a call from Ethan, with a tag. Linda Walsh had tagged me in a photo. I opened it because some part of me still believed there had to be an explanation. The photo showed Ethan standing behind Olivia Reed in his mother's dining room, pink and gold balloons arched over the fireplace. A cake sat on the table. Olivia held an ultrasound picture in one hand and Ethan's hand in the other. His mother stood beside them, crying. The caption read, "At last, a blessing for our family. Some women bring joy wherever they go." Below it, someone had commented, "Congratulations, Ethan." No one corrected them. No one said Olivia's baby was not his. No one asked where his wife was. Maya came back and saw my face. "What happened?" I handed her the phone. She read the post, and for one of the few times in her life, my little sister had no words. I looked at Ethan in the photo. His smile was strained, but it was there. His hand rested on Olivia's shoulder, protective and familiar. That was when something inside me went very still, not healed, not calm. Still, there is a kind of pain so large it stops being a wound and becomes a room. You stand inside it, you look around, you see everything. I saw Ethan leaving, I saw myself begging. I saw his mother celebrating another woman while I bled in a hospital bed. I saw all the years I had explained him to myself. He was tired, he was pressured, his family was difficult, Olivia was fragile. I was strong enough to understand, I was strong enough to wait, I was strong enough to forgive. That night I finally asked the question I should have asked years earlier. Why did everyone need me to be strong except me? Nurse Dana came in to check my four. "Dana," I said. She looked up. "Yes, honey. I need to change my emergency contact." Maya's head snapped toward me. "And my medical authorization," I added. "Everything that lists Ethan Walsh, I want him removed." Dana's face softened, but she did not question me. "I'll bring the forms." Maya sat down slowly beside my bed. "Claire, I lost one baby tonight," I said. My voice sounded like it belonged to someone older. "I may still lose the other, but he doesn't get to stand on my chart like he stood in that photo." Maya covered her mouth. Dana returned with a clipboard. I took the pen with my forehand. My fingers trembled, but I crossed out Ethan's name carefully. One line through husband, one line through medical proxy, one line through authorized contact. Then I wrote Maya Bennett in its place. When I finished, I placed the pen down and looked at the plastic cup on the bedside table. My wedding ring sat inside it, small, bright, useless. I turned the cup around so I could not see it. My phone buzzed at 11:46 p.m. Ethan, how are you? Still at hospital, sorry, things ran late, call me. I stared at the message, then I took a screenshot. That was the first piece of evidence I saved. It would not be the last. Ethan came back at 12:31 a.m. carrying gas station flowers, not flowers from the hospital gift shop, not flowers chosen with care, gas station flowers wrapped in clear plastic with a bent barcode sticker still clinging to the side. He looked tired, guilty, and faintly irritated, as if my emergency had become a longer appointment than he expected. Maya saw him first. She stood from the chair beside my bed so fast it scraped the floor. You have got to be kidding me. Ethan stopped at the doorway. Maya, do not say my name like we're friendly. His eyes moved to me. Claire, I came back as soon as I could. I laughed once, the sound hurt my throat. As soon as you could after cake. His face changed. You saw the post. Your mother tagged me. He winced. I told her not to. That was your line. Claire, Olivia was overwhelmed. She almost fainted during dinner. Everyone was staring at her and my mom was crying and I couldn't just walk out. I stared at him. He heard it then. The stupidity of telling his bleeding wife he could not walk out on a dinner. Maya stepped forward. She lost one of the babies. Ethan froze. The flowers sagged in his hand. One of what? I closed my eyes. I had wanted to tell him myself. In another life, I imagined we would hear about twins together. We would look at each other in stunned joy. We would buy 2 ridiculous stuffed animals and pretend not to be terrified. Instead, my sister told him in a hospital room after he came back from another woman's pregnancy announcement. Claire, he whispered. What does she mean? Dr. Patel entered before I had to answer. Her expression shifted when she saw Ethan. Mr. Walsh, she said. Doctor, what happened? Dr. Patel looked at me first. That mattered. I nodded once. You were listed as Claire's authorized contact earlier tonight, she said carefully. That has changed. I can discuss only what Claire permits. Ethan blinked. What? She removed you from her medical authorization. He looked at me as if I had slapped him. Claire, why would you do that? Because you left. I came back. You left first. He dragged a hand through his hair. I made a mistake, I know that, but removing me from medical decisions, that's extreme. The word settled over the room. Extreme. Not leaving your wife bleeding in the ER, not posing at another woman's baby party, not letting your family imply her child was yours while your wife lost one of yours. No, my boundary was extreme. I looked at Dr. Patel. You can tell him the minimum. She nodded. You experienced a first trimester loss of 1 twin, she said. The other fetus currently has cardiac activity. Claire is still at risk and will need close monitoring. Ethan gripped the doorframe. We were having twins. I looked at the blanket. Yes, and one is gone, I said. His mouth opened. No sound came out for a second. Grief crossed his face so raw that I almost reached for him. Almost. Muscle memory is a cruel thing. My hand twitched before my mind caught it. Then his phone buzzed. Soft piano. The room went silent. Maya looked like she might commit a crime. Ethan fumbled to silence it. But not before I saw Olivia's name. I smiled. It did not feel like a smile. Answer it. No, you left me for her once tonight. Don't pretend restraint now. He shoved the phone into his pocket. I'm not doing this. Good, I said. Neither am I. He stepped closer. Claire, please, let's talk alone. No, I'm your husband. I turned my head toward him. Not on my chart. The words hit him harder than shouting would have. He looked at the clipboard on the small rolling table, at the new forms, at Maya's name where his had been. This is punishment, he said. No, this is access control. He stared at me, confused by the language. Ethan understood emotions when they could be smoothed over. He did not understand systems. He did not understand what it meant when a woman stopped asking to be loved and started editing documents. Dr. Patel gave me discharge instructions just after 2 in the morning. Modified bed rest. Follow-up in 48 hours. Immediate return for heavy bleeding, fever, severe pain, no stress if possible, which made Maya snort so loudly that Dana coughed to hide a laugh. Ethan tried to help me into the wheelchair. Maya blocked him. I've got her. Maya, don't make this worse. She leaned close. You made it worse when you chose balloons over blood. He flinched. I said nothing. Outside, the hospital lobby smelled like disinfectant and old coffee. Ethan walked a few steps behind us, carrying the flowers like an apology he no longer knew how to deliver. When we reached the curb, he said, I'll drive you home. Maya opened the passenger door of her car. No, she's my wife, she's my sister, I need to speak with her. I finally looked at him. The streetlight made him look older, or maybe I was seeing him without the soft filter of my own devotion. Send anything important through my lawyer. His eyes widened. Lawyer. I got into Maya's car. He grabbed the door before she could close it. Claire, you can't be serious. We had a terrible night. We're grieving. This is not the time to make decisions. That's the difference between us. I said. You made yours during my emergency. I'm making mine after it. Maya shut the door. As we pulled away, Ethan stood in the hospital driveway under the white lights, still holding the gas station flowers. I did not cry until we turned the corner. Maya drove with one hand on the wheel and one hand gripping mine. Come home with me, she said. I need clothes. I'll get them. I need my medication. My insurance card, the folder from Dr. Patel. I'll get all of it. I looked out the window at the city moving past in streaks of yellow and red. I need to go back to the house, Maya cursed under her breath. Not alone, not alone. She nodded. At home. The porch lights were on. I had chosen those lights. Warm brass sconces, Ethan said, were too expensive until my trust paid for the renovation. I had picked the blue front door. I had planted the hydrangeas. I had turned that house from a cold Walsh family property into a home. Inside, the entry table was covered with pink tissue paper, gift bags, ribbons, a silver frame with the words Baby Reed Walsh written on a folded card in Linda's handwriting. For a moment I could not move. Maya saw it and went perfectly still. Tell me that does not say what I think it says. I picked up the card. Baby Reed Walsh, a question mark, cute, playful, cruel. Inside the gift bag was a cashmere baby blanket. The receipt showed it had been charged to my joint credit card. Maya whispered, Claire. I walked to the kitchen. More gifts sat on the island, a bottle of non-alcoholic champagne, a handwritten note from Linda to Olivia, so thrilled to finally plan for a real grandchild. I placed the note beside the hospital folder. Then I took photos of everything. Not because I wanted memories, because receipts do not cry, receipts do not shake. Receipts do not get accused of being dramatic. At 3:17 a.m. Ethan came through the front door. He stopped when he saw us in the kitchen. Claire, I told my mom not to bring this here tonight. But she did. I didn't know. You rarely do when it's convenient. He put his keys down. Olivia was embarrassed by the post. She didn't mean for people to assume anything. Did she correct them? He said nothing. Did you? Nothing. Maya laughed bitterly. Amazing. Ethan looked at the hospital folder on the counter. Can we please talk without your sister attacking me? No, I said. His jaw tightened. This is our marriage. It was my miscarriage. The room went quiet. I had not said it aloud like that yet. My miscarriage, my body, my blood, my loss. He closed his eyes. Claire, I'm sorry. I know. That startled him. I know you're sorry, I said. But sorry is what people say when they cannot undo what they were willing to do. He stepped toward me. Tell me how to fix this. I looked around the kitchen, at the baby gifts bought with my money, at the note calling Olivia's child real, at the man who wanted instructions for repairing damage he still did not understand. Sleep somewhere else tonight. His face went blank. What? Maya is staying with me. You are not. This is my house too. I picked up the property folder from the drawer beside the stove. My father had insisted I keep copies in 3 places. I used to think that was excessive. Now I understood. The deed is in my name, I said. You know that. His eyes flicked to the folder. My company pays the utilities. No, I said. My account does. Your company reimburses nothing. I checked. He stared at me. Something shifted then. Not grief, not shame, fear, small but visible. Good, he whispered. Claire, don't turn this into money. You turned it into access, I said. Access to my body, access to my home, access to my accounts, access to my forgiveness. I'm reviewing all of it. Maya folded her arms. You heard her. Ethan looked at me as if I were a stranger. Maybe I was. Maybe the wife he knew had stayed in that hospital room with the baby we lost. He picked up his keys. At the door, he stopped. You can't erase me from this pregnancy. I placed one hand over my stomach. I already started. Ethan did not come home the next day. He sent 12 messages. The first 3 were apologies. The next 4 were explanations. The last 5 were accusations dressed as concern. You're under a lot of stress. Maya is influencing you. This cannot be good for the baby. You need calm, not conflict. Do not make permanent decisions while emotional. I saved every message. Then I muted him. Maya made me toast I could not eat and tea I could not taste. She slept on the couch with one eye open like a guard dog in yoga pants. Every few hours, she checked that I was not bleeding worse. Every time I went to the bathroom, my hands shook. At 48 hours, Dr. Patel confirmed the second heartbeat was still there, small, fast, defiant. I cried then, not because I was happy. Happiness felt too dangerous. I cried because one tiny life inside me had survived a night when the person who should have protected us chose someone else's celebration. Dr. Patel handed me a new set of instructions. You need low stress, she said. Maya snorted again. Dr. Patel ignored her. I mean it. No unnecessary confrontation. No heavy lifting, no long arguments. If your home situation is unsafe emotionally, change the situation. I'm trying. Try harder. Doctors are the only people who can say something like that and make it sound like mercy. On the way home, I called the bank. I did not close everything at once. That would have been satisfying, but satisfying is not always strategic. I removed overdraft protection from Ethan's business account. I froze the joint card used for household expenses. I stopped the automatic monthly transfer to Linda Walsh. Maya watched me from the driver's seat. How much were you sending his mother? $3,000 a month. She nearly swerved. For what? Her condo fees, she said. Ethan was embarrassed to ask. And Olivia's baby blanket. Joint card. Claire, I know. No, I need you to hear it from someone who loves you. They have been using you like a quiet ATM with a uterus. I leaned back and closed my eyes. A week earlier, I would have defended them. Linda was proud. Ethan was under pressure. Family finances were complicated. Olivia had been through a divorce. Everyone needed patience. Now the excuses sounded like a language I no longer spoke. That evening, Linda called. I let it go to voicemail. She called again, and again. Then she texted, Claire, we need to discuss your behavior. Ethan is devastated. Olivia has been crying all day because you made her happy news feel dirty. This family cannot survive this kind of selfishness. I stared at the word selfishness until it blurred. Maya took the phone from my hand. Do you want me to respond? No. I took it back and typed one sentence. Please direct all future financial requests to Ethan. I sent it. Linda called within 10 seconds. I blocked her. The next morning, Ethan appeared at the house with his mother and Olivia. I saw them through the doorbell camera before the bell rang. Linda wore pearls. Olivia wore a cream sweater stretched gently over a stomach that was not yet showing. Ethan looked like a man being led to his own trial without understanding the charge. Maya stood beside me in the hallway. Say the word and I'll tell them you're asleep. No, I said. Let them in. Linda swept through the door first. She kissed the air beside my cheek. You look pale. I was in the hospital. Her mouth tightened. Yes, well, stress affects everyone. Olivia stepped in behind her, eyes wet. Claire, I am so sorry about the misunderstanding. I looked at her. What misunderstanding? She glanced at Ethan. The post, the comments, people got excited. People thought your baby was my husband's. Her lips parted. Ethan said, Claire, is it? The hallway went silent. Linda's eyes flashed. That is an obscene question. No, Maya said from the stairs. Leaving your wife in the ER for a maybe baby party is obscene. This is basic follow-up. Olivia placed one hand on her abdomen. I don't want to discuss my private life while I'm pregnant. I almost smiled. Privacy, how beautiful it sounded when other women wanted it. Linda moved toward the living room. We are not here to fight. We are here to make arrangements. Arrangements. Olivia's lease ends next month. With the pregnancy and all this tension, she should not be alone. I think she should stay here temporarily. I stared at her. In my house with my husband after my miscarriage. Maya whispered, Oh, I am about to become a headline. Ethan rubbed his forehead. Mom, we said we would discuss options. This is the most sensible option. Linda said. Claire will be resting, Olivia will be resting. You can both support each other. I looked at Ethan. He did not immediately say no. That was the answer. Something inside me clicked into place with clean, cold precision. No. Linda blinked. Excuse me. No, I repeated. Olivia will not live in my house. Olivia's eyes filled. I never wanted to cause problems, then leave. Ethan stepped forward. Claire, don't be cruel. I turned to him. You brought her to my door after what happened and expected me to host her. Do not speak to me about cruelty. Linda's voice sharpened. This house has been in the Walsh family for years. It was mortgaged to the edge of foreclosure before my father bought out the lien. I said, the deed is mine. Linda's face changed color. Ethan looked away. Olivia noticed, for the first time since she entered, her fragile expression slipped. Just a flicker. Calculation beneath the tears. There it was. She had thought this house was Ethan's. Most people did. I let them. Silence is useful until people mistake it for weakness. Linda recovered first. Money does not give you the right to punish a pregnant woman. No, I said, ownership does. Ethan said my name quietly, a warning. I ignored it. I have also frozen the joint card. Olivia's hand twitched, Linda's mouth opened, and stopped the monthly transfer. That one hit Linda like a physical blow. You what? You said Ethan was devastated. I said, he can support his own family while he heals. Maya made a sound suspiciously close to a laugh. Ethan's face darkened. Claire, this is not the time. That is becoming your favorite sentence. You are weaponizing money. No, I am stopping the weapons aimed at me. Olivia took a soft step toward me. Claire, I know you're hurting, but punishing everyone won't bring back what you lost. The room went completely still. Maya whispered, careful. Olivia's eyes widened as if she had not meant it that way, but she had. I looked at her cream sweater, her trembling mouth, her hand resting protectively over the child everyone had celebrated while mine fought to stay. You're right, I said. That surprised her. It won't bring back what I lost, but it will protect what I have left. Ethan looked at me sharply. What does that mean? I held his gaze. It means this conversation is over. Linda scoffed. You cannot shut out your husband from his own child. I did not answer. Not because she was right, because she had not earned the truth. After they left, Maya locked the door and leaned against it. You handled that terrifyingly well. I need the basement files. What files? Company reimbursements, loan documents, utility payments, anything Ethan told me not to worry about. Maya looked at me for a long second. Then she nodded. We spent 4 hours in the basement. By midnight, the dining table was covered with folders. By 1, I found the first payment. $3,200 to Northview Women's Clinic, patient reference, Olivia Reed, paid by joint household card 2 weeks before her announcement. I stared at the receipt. Maya leaned over my shoulder. Tell me that's not what I think it is. It is. You paid for her prenatal appointment. No, I said, taking a photo. Ethan did with my money. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A message appeared. You don't know the whole story about Olivia's baby. Attached was a photo of Olivia kissing a man I had never seen before. The date stamp was 6 weeks ago. The man in the photo had one hand on Olivia's waist and the other tangled in her hair. It was not a friendly kiss. It was not old. It was not ambiguous. The timestamp sat in the lower corner like a quiet witness. 6 weeks ago. At 6 weeks pregnant. Dates matter. They are not perfect, but they matter enough to make a woman pretending uncertainty very nervous. Maya zoomed in on the photo. Do you know him? No. Send it to your lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. She looked at me. I corrected myself. I didn't have a lawyer. By 9 the next morning, I was sitting across from Meredith Shaw in an office with glass walls and no family photos. I liked her. Immediately, some lawyers decorate their offices with warmth to make clients feel safe. Meredith did not bother. Her desk had 3 pens, 2 folders, and a mug that said no is a complete sentence. She read my timeline without interrupting. Hospital admission, Ethan leaving, Olivia's party, Linda's post, medical authorization change, joint card charges, attempt to move Olivia into my house, unknown message with photo. When she finished, she removed her glasses. Do you want a divorce? I had expected the question to hurt. It did not. Yes. Do you want to use the pregnancy as leverage? No. Her eyes lifted. I want it protected, I said, not leveraged. Good answer. I exhaled for what felt like the first time in days. Meredith leaned back. Let's separate the issues first. Your medical privacy. You have already revoked authorization. I'll send a formal notice to the hospital and your OB practice. You can also register as private for appointments. I can keep him out of your medical decisions. Yes, out of your body, absolutely, out of all future legal questions regarding a child, not by paperwork alone, but his conduct matters, documentation matters, stability matters. I nodded. Second, she continued, property. Your house is premarital. My father purchased it through my trust before the wedding, Ethan, and I lived thereafter. Any marital funds used for major improvements. My trust paid most renovations. Ethan's company promised reimbursement but never paid. Excellent, not emotionally excellent, legally useful. Maya muttered. That's the nicest thing anyone has said about financial abuse. Meredith almost smiled. Third, the family company. You guaranteed a line of credit. Yes. Cancel if possible. Notify the lender of marital separation. We will review liability. I swallowed. Will that destroy him? Meredith looked at me steadily. Claire, if removing your unpaid support destroys him, you are not destroying him, you are revealing what was already broken. That sentence stayed with me for years. Ethan had told me Walsh Properties was recovering one more project, one more bridge loan, one more quiet transfer so Linda would not panic, one more dinner with investors where I smiled and pretended the necklace at my throat had not been pawned and replaced with a replica during a difficult quarter. I had called it partnership. Maybe partnership should not require one person to disappear. After the lawyer, I went to the bank, not online, in person. A young manager named Tessa walked me through the accounts. I removed Ethan from access to my trust distributions. I froze the household card permanently. I opened a new operating account for the house bills. I requested statements for the last 18 months. Would you like us to flag unusual withdrawals? She asked. Yes. For what threshold? I thought of the baby blanket, the clinic bill, the champagne. $1. I said. She looked up. I did not smile. After the bank, I went to my studio. Bennett Restoration occupied the second floor of an old brick building near the river. For years it had been my sanctuary. Paintings arrived damaged, smoke-stained, cracked, neglected. My job was not to make them new, it was to reveal what survived. That day my assistant Jonah saw my face and quietly cleared my calendar. You don't have to explain, he said. I may be away more often. We'll handle it. I'm pregnant. His face softened. And it's complicated. Then we'll handle more. Kindness almost undid me, real kindness, not the kind that asks for repayment. I spent the afternoon scanning documents in the back room, every transfer, every invoice, every message Ethan sent saying, "Can you cover this until Friday?" Every email from Linda with the subject line family emergency that turned out to be a spa membership, a property tax bill, a donation pledge she had made publicly and expected me to fulfill privately. Receipts do not cry. I repeated that to myself whenever my hands shook. At 5:40 p.m. Ethan appeared at the studio. Jonah intercepted him near the front desk. Claire isn't available, Ethan's voice carried. I'm her husband. I stepped out before Jonah had to answer. Not here. Ethan looked like he had slept badly. His tie was loose. His eyes moved over me, searching for softness. I went home, he said. Your clothes are gone. Some of them. Are you staying with Maya? No. Where are you staying? Somewhere you don't have access to. Pain flickered across his face. You're enjoying this? That almost made me laugh. Yes, Ethan, I'm glowing. He stepped closer. I know I hurt you. I know leaving was wrong, but you're turning one terrible mistake into a war. One. His jaw tightened. You did not just leave, I said. You let them celebrate Olivia's child as yours. You let your mother call her baby Real. You charged her prenatal care to our account. You tried to bring her into my home. His face went pale at the clinic charge. You saw that. I paid for it. It wasn't like that. Then explain it. She called me from the clinic. Her insurance had lapsed. She was scared. And you used my card. I used the household card. Funded by me. He looked away. There it was again. Not apology, exposure. Claire, he said quietly. Olivia's situation is complicated. You keep using that word. Does complicated mean you slept with her? His silence answered before his mouth did. It was one night, he said. My knees almost gave out. Not because I had not suspected it, because hearing the truth still has teeth. When? He closed his eyes. Denver conference 2 months ago. I was drunk. We had been fighting about IVF bills and she was upset about her divorce and it just happened. It just happened. I repeated. I regretted it immediately. Before or after she became pregnant. His face twisted. She doesn't know if it's mine. I placed one hand against the doorframe. The baby inside me had a heartbeat. I focused on that one heartbeat. One breath, one choice at a time. Get out, I said. Claire, get out before I call security. We need to talk about the baby. My doctor and I are talking about the baby. Our baby. I looked at him. You remembered the word our when there was something left to claim. He flinched. Good. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number again. This time the message said, "My name is Noah Carter. Olivia told me Ethan thinks the baby might be his. It is not. I have proof. I'm sorry you're caught in this." I looked at Ethan standing in my studio asking for access after abandoning me for a lie. For the first time since the hospital, I felt something other than grief. I felt the shape of the ending Linda Walsh believed. In dinner table warfare she never raised her voice. She arranged flowers, chilled wine, lit candles and delivered insults with the grace of a woman passing bread. 3 days after Ethan appeared at my studio, She sent an email through Meredith's office, family dinner, necessary discussion, no lawyers for the sake of peace. Meredith advised against it. Maya threatened to fake a gas leak at Linda's house. I went anyway, not for peace, for the room. There are conversations people deny unless witnesses are trapped between salad plates and dessert forks. I wore a black dress because Linda hated black at dinner. I wore flat shoes because Dr. Patel told me to avoid stress, and I had decided that comfortable feet counted as medical compliance. In my purse, I carried copies of 3 documents: the hospital timeline, the clinic charge, and the notice of separation Meredith had drafted that morning. Maya waited in the car outside with the engine off and her phone on. "If you don't text me every 15 minutes, she said, "I'm coming in. You cannot assault my in-laws." I can be creative. I almost smiled. Inside, Linda's dining room looked exactly like the photo from Olivia's party. Same balloons, now drooping, same gold ribbon twisted around the chandelier, same pink cake stand washed and reused for lemon tart. Olivia sat to Ethan's right. I had been married to him for 6 years and had never sat to his right in that house. Linda believed in old-fashioned seating. The honored woman sat at the right hand of the host. I sat opposite them. Linda noticed me. Noticing. "Claire, I hope you understand we are all trying to move forward." "No," I said, "but continue." Ethan's eyes warned me. I looked away. Dinner began with soup. Linda asked about my health in the same tone she used for plumbing issues. "Stable," I said. Olivia lowered her eyes. "I pray for you every night." "Don't." Her spoon stopped. I sipped water. Ethan set his jaw. "Claire." Linda placed her spoon down. "Enough. This bitterness is not good for anyone, least of all the child if the pregnancy continues." If the word slid across the table. Ethan looked at his mother sharply. "Mom, what? We all know the situation is fragile." I looked at Linda's pearls, at the candlelight reflecting off her wineglass, at the woman who had spent years calling me daughter when she needed a check and Claire when she needed someone to blame. "You mean my child might die, so I should be polite while waiting?" Color rose in her cheeks. Olivia whispered, "That's not fair." I turned to her. "You are sitting in the chair my husband pulled out for you while his mother discusses whether my baby will survive. Do not speak to me about fair." Silence. Ethan pushed his chair back slightly. "This is exactly why I wanted us to talk privately." "No," I said, "you wanted privacy because privacy has protected you." His face hardened. "Good." I opened my purse. Linda's eyes narrowed. "What is that?" "Clarity." I placed the hospital timeline on the table. At 7:22 p.m. I was admitted to the ER for vaginal bleeding during a twin pregnancy. At 8:04 Ethan left the hospital. At 8:37, he appeared in your dining room. At 9:18 you posted a photo celebrating Olivia's pregnancy and tagged me in it. Linda stared at the paper. "I didn't know the severity. You knew enough to write at last. A blessing for our family." She looked away. I placed the second document down. At 3:42 p.m. 2 weeks earlier, Ethan paid Northview Women's Clinic $3,200 for Olivia's prenatal care using a card paid from my account. Olivia's face went white. Ethan said, "That was private." "No, private is my medical chart. This was theft from a joint account funded by my money." Linda's hands tightened around her napkin. "You are humiliating everyone." "I learned from the best." Ethan leaned forward. "Claire, stop." I met his eyes. "No." The word felt so good I almost said it again. I placed the notice of separation on the table. "I am filing for divorce. I am revoking all personal financial support to this family. I am reviewing every loan, guarantee, and transfer connected to Walsh Properties. Any further contact about my pregnancy goes through my lawyer or my doctor, neither of whom will speak to you without my consent." The room held its breath. Then Linda laughed. It was a small, disbelieving sound. "You cannot possibly think you can cut Ethan off from his own child." Ethan's face changed at the word child. Possession entered grief's place. "Claire," he said, softer now, "this is our baby." I looked at him across the table. "Which one?" He stopped breathing. "The one whose heartbeat stopped while you were holding Olivia's ultrasound?" I asked. "Or the one still fighting while your mother calls survival an if?" Olivia covered her mouth. Linda whispered, "That is cruel." "No," I said, "it is specific." Ethan stood so quickly his chair hit the wall. "You never told me it was twins." "I found out after you left. I came back. After cake." He looked wounded, as if the shorthand were unfair. Maybe it was. Maybe grief deserves more elegant language, but betrayal does not. Ethan turned toward Olivia. "Did you know she was at the hospital when Mom posted Olivia's eyes filled instantly. I knew she had cramps. You said it might be nothing. I almost admired her. She could cry on command, but she always hid knives in the tears. She was bleeding, Ethan said. You didn't tell me that. I left the hospital. I thought you meant after she was discharged. Lie, I saw it in the way she touched her necklace. Quick, nervous, tell. Linda stood. This is not productive. It was never meant to be. I said. It was meant to be witnessed. I rose slowly. Ethan moved toward me. Don't go. I already did. He reached for my arm. I looked at his hand. He dropped it at the front door. Olivia followed me. Claire, she whispered. You may hate me, but don't punish Ethan forever. He is terrified. I turned back. Good. Her lips parted. He should be terrified, I said. He stood in 2 rooms that night. In one room a woman was losing his child. In the other a woman was offering him someone else's. He chose the easier room. Now he can live in it. I walked out. Maya rolled down the car window as I approached. How'd it go? I got in and buckled my seatbelt. Ethan learned we were having twins. Maya's face softened. Are you okay? No. She started the car. But I didn't brake. Behind us, Linda's front door opened. Ethan came out into the porch light, phone in hand. My phone buzzed. Ethan, what do you mean someone else's? I stared at the message. Then I forwarded it to Meredith. The first time Ethan tried to enter my prenatal appointment, he brought flowers again. Better flowers this time. White roses from an actual florist, wrapped in thick paper with a satin ribbon. He must have thought presentation mattered. He must have thought there was a correct floral arrangement for abandonment. I saw him from across the clinic lobby. My stomach tightened and Dr. Patel's warning echoed in my head. No unnecessary stress. I turned to the receptionist. I'm registered private. She checked the screen and nodded. Yes, Ms. Bennett, we have the privacy flag. Ms. Bennett, not Mrs. Walsh. I had asked for the change the night before. Seeing it on the screen steadied me more than it should have. Ethan crossed the lobby. Claire. The receptionist looked between us. I said, he is not authorized. Ethan stopped. Pain flashed across his face, followed by embarrassment. The lobby was full. Pregnant women, partners, a toddler dropping crackers onto the carpet, an older man reading a magazine upside down. Claire, please, he said quietly. I just want to see the ultrasound. I kept my voice even. No, it's my child too. It is my medical appointment. You can't keep punishing me. I can keep protecting myself. He lowered the flowers. I called Dr. Patel's office. They wouldn't tell me the appointment time. Correct. I had to follow you from the parking garage. That sentence landed loudly. The receptionist's head snapped up. I stared at him. You followed me. I was worried. You followed a high-risk pregnant woman to a private medical appointment after she revoked your access. His face shifted as he realized how it sounded. That's not what I meant. It's what you did. A security guard near the hallway glanced over. Ethan noticed. His voice dropped. Claire, I'm trying to be present. You were present at Olivia's announcement. He flinched. Please don't do this here. I almost laughed. Men like Ethan always feared public scenes after causing private devastation. Dr. Patel's nurse opened the door. Claire Bennett. I walked toward her. Ethan stepped forward. Doctor, I'm the father. The nurse looked at the chart. You're not listed as an authorized support person for this visit. I'm her husband. The nurse's face did not change. She is the patient. I could have kissed her. Instead, I followed her through the door and did not look back. The ultrasound showed one small body, one flicker, one impossible little rhythm. Dr. Patel turned the volume low and the heartbeat filled the room. Fast, stubborn, alive, I cried. Silently, Dr. Patel handed me tissues. Still with us, she said. Still with us. I repeated. After the appointment I used the back exit. Maya was supposed to pick me up. But the second I stepped outside, Olivia was waiting beside a silver SUV. Of course she was. She wore sunglasses too large for her face and held a paper cup from a cafe. Her pregnancy was not visible yet, but she carried herself like the whole world should make space. Claire, I stopped. No, she blinked. I just want to talk. I don't. Ethan is falling apart. Then pick up the pieces. You wanted him. Her mouth tightened. I never wanted to hurt you. I took out my phone and started recording before I answered. You followed me to a private medical appointment to say that. She glanced at the phone. Are you recording? Yes. That's pathetic. There she is. Her face changed again, soft mask dropping. You think paperwork makes you powerful? She asked. Ethan already chose me when it mattered. The words were clean, perfect. I held the phone steady. Say that again. She stepped closer. He left you because I called, he came to me because I am the one his family wants. You had years to give them a child, Claire, years. Now you want sympathy because your body finally did half the job. For 1 second the world narrowed to her mouth. Then the baby inside me seemed to pulse with that small, stubborn rhythm I had just heard. I would not give Olivia the satisfaction of my collapse. I smiled. It made her uneasy. Thank you. For what? For being exactly who I thought you were. I walked past her. She grabbed my sleeve. I looked down at her hand. Let go. You think Ethan will stay away? He won't. The second that baby is born, the Walsh name goes on everything. You cannot erase him. I leaned closer. I do not need to erase him. I need to document him. She let go. Maya pulled up hard at the curb 2 minutes later. Why is Olivia in the parking lot? Because Ethan followed me and she followed him. Maya looked murderous. I hate this. Family. I recorded her. Maya's expression changed. Please tell me she said something useful. She said Ethan chose her when it mattered. Maya smiled slowly. Receipts do not cry. Exactly. At home I sent the recording to Meredith, then I checked my email. There was a new message from Noah Carter. Subject: Olivia's timeline. Attached were screenshots, text messages, hotel receipts, a photo of Olivia in a blue dress sitting on Noah's kitchen counter, laughing, one hand covering the camera, dates, times. Messages from Olivia: I'm late Noah, this could ruin everything. Ethan thinks it might be his. Let him, he owes me. I sat very still. Maya read over my shoulder. Oh, she said. The final screenshot was the sharpest. Olivia: if Claire loses hers, Ethan's mother will make sure mine is the only baby that matters. I closed the laptop. For the first time Maya did not speak. I placed both hands over my stomach. One baby gone, one baby alive, and another woman had been waiting to benefit from either outcome. My phone rang. Ethan. I let it ring, then a text arrived. Ethan, Olivia said you threatened her at the clinic. I stared at it, then laughed. It was not a happy sound. I replied with the audio file, no words, just the recording. 3 minutes later Ethan called again. This time I answered. His breathing was uneven. Claire, he said, what else do you have? I looked at Noah's email on my screen. Enough. Noah Carter did not look like a villain. That was my first thought when he walked into the cafe near Meredith's office. He looked tired, embarrassed, and badly dressed for a man who had clearly tried to look respectable. His shirt was ironed at the collar and wrinkled everywhere else. He saw me and stopped. Claire, yes, I'm Noah. Maya sat to my left, Meredith sat to my right. Noah noticed both and gave a short, humorless laugh. Good. You brought witnesses. Always, Meredith said. He sat across from us and placed a folder on the table. I didn't reach out to help Ethan. He said immediately, I don't care what happens to him. Why reach out? I asked. Because Olivia told me you lost a baby. His eyes flicked to my stomach and away. And because she was happy about it. The cafe noise seemed to recede. Maya's hand found my knee under the table. Noah swallowed. She didn't say it like that at first. She said Ethan was finally free of the pressure. Then she said if your pregnancy ended, his mother would push him toward the family that still had a child coming. I thought she was just being cruel. Then I saw the party photo. Then I saw your name tagged. He pushed the folder toward Meredith. I was with Olivia during the conception window more than once. She told me the baby was mine first. Then Ethan started paying for things and suddenly she wasn't sure. Meredith opened the folder. Inside were printed texts, photos, a credit card receipt from a hotel and a copy of an appointment confirmation from a clinic. Did she ask you for money? Meredith asked. Yes, then she told me to stay away. Then she said if I contacted Ethan, she would accuse me of harassment. Do you want paternity established? Noah looked down. If the child is mine, yes, but I won't let her use the baby as a weapon. My parents were like that. I know what it does. For the first time I felt something like pity, not for Olivia, for the child none of us had met yet, already placed in the center of adult damage. This is not about punishing the baby, I said. Noah looked at me. I know. Meredith tapped the folder. This helps establish motive and deception. It does not prove paternity yet. But it proves Olivia knowingly manipulated uncertainty. Will you use it publicly? Noah asked. Only if necessary, I said. Maya looked surprised. I turned my teacup slowly. I don't need the world to know who Olivia slept with. I need Ethan to stop pretending he was noble when he was being used. I need his family to stop treating me like an obstacle, and I need the court to see that the environment around him is unstable. Meredith nodded. That is strategic. Noah exhaled. She told me you were cold. She confuses cold with finished. After the meeting, Meredith filed a request for temporary boundaries. Ethan was to contact me only through counsel except for legal emergencies. He was not to appear at my medical appointments, he was not to enter my property. Any discussion of the pregnancy would occur through lawyers until further court guidance. That afternoon, Linda Walsh detonated the family group chat. I was no longer in it, but 3 cousins forwarded screenshots to Maya within 10 minutes. Linda wrote, "Claire has decided to punish this family during what should be a season of joy. She has cut off support, isolated Ethan from his child, and allowed jealousy toward Olivia to poison her judgment. Please pray for her." Below it someone wrote, "Is it true she lost the baby and still won't let Ethan grieve?" Another, "Poor Olivia, stress is dangerous for pregnant women." Another, "Claire always seemed controlled, maybe this is who she really is." Maya wanted to respond with documents, profanity, and possibly fire. I said no. "Why?" she demanded. "Because Linda wants a public fight. She's smearing you, she's baiting me, so we do nothing. We do nothing emotional." Meredith approved one statement. It was short enough to fit in a text bubble. For those receiving inaccurate information, on the night of my emergency hospitalization, Ethan Walsh left the ER and attended Olivia Reed's pregnancy announcement. "I have medical documentation, timelines, and financial records. I am prioritizing my health and will not discuss this further in group messages." Maya sent it to every cousin who had forwarded Linda's message. Within an hour, the group chat went silent. By evening, Linda called Meredith's office. By night, Ethan texted through his lawyer asking for a private healing conversation. Meredith forwarded it with one comment, "No, I slept for 5 hours that night, which felt like a miracle." The next morning, I woke to an email from Dr. Patel's office confirming that I had been registered under restricted privacy protocols. No appointment times would be released, no visitors without written consent, no medical discussions with unauthorized individuals. I printed the confirmation and placed it in a folder labeled pregnancy. Then I made another folder labeled divorce, then another labeled Walsh financials. My life had become paper, but paper held. People slipped, paper held. At 16 weeks I heard the heartbeat again, stronger now, less like a flicker, more like a declaration. I did not tell Ethan, I told Maya, I told Dr. Patel, I told the baby. "You and I whispered in the exam room after the nurse left, "we are going to be very careful about who gets keys." That evening, Ethan sent one letter through Meredith, not a legal letter, a personal one. "Claire, I listened to the recording. I confronted Olivia. She says she was angry and scared. I do not know what to believe anymore, but I know I failed you. I know I left. I know our baby died while I was gone. I will carry that forever. Please let me come to one appointment. Please let me hear the heartbeat once. I am not asking for forgiveness, I am asking for one chance to show up." Ethan, I read it 3 times, then I placed it in the folder. Maya watched me. "Are you going to answer?" "Yes." I wrote, "You had one chance to show up, you left." I sent it through Meredith 2 days later. Ethan filed for a temporary hearing. He wanted court-ordered access to information about the pregnancy. He wanted recognition as the father. He wanted what he called reasonable participation. Meredith called me after reading the motion. Her voice was calm. "Claire, we expected this." I sat on the edge of my bed, one hand over my stomach. "Can he win? He can establish that legal questions may exist after birth, but he cannot force himself into your body, your appointments, or your delivery room." I closed my eyes. "Good. He is also claiming parental alienation." I laughed once. The baby kicked for the first time that afternoon, tiny, uncertain, real. I pressed my palm there and smiled through tears. Ethan wanted participation. He was about to learn the difference between fatherhood and access. Courtrooms are colder than they look on television. Not dramatic cold, not symbolic, just aggressively air-conditioned. As if the building wants emotions preserved but not expressed. Ethan sat across the aisle in a navy suit I had chosen for him 3 years earlier. His lawyer whispered beside him. Linda sat behind him with her lips pressed into a thin line. Olivia was not there. That interested me. Meredith noticed too. "Good," she murmured. "Either she's avoiding questions or someone finally told her optics matter." Maya sat behind me with a notebook she did not need and a face that said she hoped someone tried her. When the judge entered, everyone rose. My case was one of several temporary matters that morning, but to me the room narrowed to 3 things: my folder, my breathing, and the place beneath my ribs where my baby had begun to move. Ethan's lawyer spoke first. He painted a picture of a grieving husband unfairly excluded from his unborn child's life after one regrettable misunderstanding. He used words like reconciliation, co-parenting, emotional distress, and access. He said Ethan wanted only to support me and prepare for fatherhood. He did not say cake. He did not say Olivia. He did not say emergency room. Then Meredith stood. "My client is not here to adjudicate custody today," she said. "There is no born child before this court. My client is here because her estranged husband is attempting to convert marriage into medical access after she revoked authorization following a documented abandonment during a pregnancy emergency." The judge looked up. Documented. Meredith handed over the timeline. Hospital admission, Ethan's departure, Linda's post, Ethan's first text after midnight, Nurse Dana's statement confirming my distress and his absence, Dr. Patel's note documenting the loss of one twin and continued high-risk status of the surviving fetus. Ethan stared at the table. Linda's face went pale. Meredith continued, "Mr. Walsh left the hospital while Mrs. Bennett Walsh was actively bleeding. He then attended a pregnancy celebration for Ms. Olivia Reed, with whom he had an admitted sexual relationship during the marriage. Family members publicly implied Ms. Reed's pregnancy was connected to him. Mrs. Bennett Walsh then revoked medical authorization, as is her right." The judge looked at Ethan. "Mr. Walsh, did you leave the hospital during the emergency?" Ethan's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, my client made a regrettable decision based on incomplete information." The judge repeated, "Did he leave?" Ethan answered himself, "Yes." The word was small. "Did your wife ask you to stay?" His jaw worked. "Yes." "Did you attend another woman's pregnancy celebration?" "Yes." The judge leaned back. Silence fell. It was not victory, not yet, but the room had changed. Ethan was no longer the wounded husband outside a locked door. He was the man who walked out of the room first. Meredith handed over the privacy documents. "My client does not dispute that future legal determinations may occur after birth. She does object to Mr. Walsh forcing access to her appointments, providers, medical records, or delivery." The judge did not take long. "Mrs. Bennett Walsh's medical care is hers. Her privacy revocation stands. Mr. Walsh is not entitled to appointment access, provider communication, or delivery room presence without her consent. After birth, legal parentage and custody may be addressed through proper filings." Ethan closed his eyes. Linda whispered something I could not hear. The judge looked at both tables. "I strongly advise all parties to reduce stress around this pregnancy." Maya muttered behind me, "Tell that to the cake people." I coughed. Meredith's mouth twitched. Outside the courtroom, Ethan caught up before the elevator. "Claire." Meredith stepped slightly in front of me. "It's okay," I said. Ethan looked wrecked, truly wrecked for once. His grief did not look polished. "I didn't understand," he said. "No, you didn't ask. I thought if I could just hear the heartbeat I could, feel better." He flinched. "That heartbeat is not medicine for your guilt." His eyes reddened. "I know, you don't." He lowered his voice. "Olivia lied to me." I stared at him. "And that is still about you." His face changed. "She lied," he said again, weaker this time. "You left." The elevator opened. Linda stepped toward me. "You are being vindictive." Maya moved so quickly I almost missed it. "Finish that sentence," she said. Linda looked at her, then at the people watching in the courthouse hallway. She swallowed the rest, but Olivia saved her the trouble. She appeared near the security checkpoint in a pale blue dress, one hand pressed to her forehead. "Ethan," she called. He turned. She swayed. The performance was almost elegant. Ethan moved on instinct, catching her elbow. Cameras were not supposed to be in the courthouse hallway, but phones were everywhere. Two relatives lifted theirs. A cousin gasped. Linda rushed forward. Olivia leaned into Ethan as if she had rehearsed the shape of it. "I tried to come," she whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. "I didn't want Claire to think I was hiding." I stood still. Meredith touched my arm. "Do not engage." Olivia looked at me with wet eyes. "I hope you're happy," she said. "All this stress could hurt my baby." My baby kicked. I placed a hand over my stomach. For 1 second, anger rose so hot I thought it might burn through my skin. Then I looked at Ethan holding Olivia upright in the courthouse where he had just been told he had no right to force himself into my medical care. He looked at me. His face was full of panic. Old Claire would have read that as love. New Claire read it correctly. He wanted me to tell him what to do. I did not. I stepped into the elevator with Meredith and Maya. As the doors closed, Olivia's soft crying filled the hallway. Maya exhaled. "That woman weaponizes gravity." Meredith checked her phone. You may want to prepare yourself. Linda is already spinning the hallway incident. She turned the screen toward me. A family post had appeared today. Stress caused by Claire's cruelty nearly harmed Olivia and the baby. Pray for peace. I looked at the post, then at my reflection in the elevator doors. For months, I had protected the truth because I did not want to become cruel. But silence was becoming a weapon in their hands. I texted Noah, "Are you willing to attend Olivia's baby shower next week if necessary?" His reply came 1 minute later, "Yes." I put my phone away. Maya looked at me. "What are you going to do?" I watched the elevator numbers descend. "Accept the invitation." Olivia's baby shower was held at the Walsh Country Club. Because humiliation requires good lighting, I had not planned to go until Linda mailed the invitation to my studio in a thick cream envelope addressed to Mrs. Ethan Walsh. Inside, a pale pink card requested my presence to celebrate baby Reed and the loving family gathering around him or her. At the bottom, in Linda's handwriting, she had added, "It is time to rise above bitterness." I sent a photo to Meredith. She replied, "This is bait." I replied, "I know." Maya replied in the separate group chat, "Can I wear red?" I said no. She wore red anyway. I wore navy, flat shoes again, hair pinned low, no wedding ring in my purse. I carried copies of the court order, the financial summary, and printed screenshots of Olivia's messages to Noah. Meredith attended as my guest, which made Linda's left eye twitch when we walked in. The room glittered, white roses, pink balloons, gold script signs, a dessert table large enough to feed a small republic in the center. Olivia sat in a velvet chair like a queen receiving tribute. Ethan stood near the bar alone. He saw me and moved immediately. "You came, you invited me." "I didn't." "I know." He looked toward his mother. "She shouldn't have done that. She does many things she shouldn't." His eyes dropped to my stomach. I was showing now. There was no hiding the curve beneath the navy fabric. For a moment, his face softened with such naked longing that I had to look away. "Claire," he whispered, "you look." "No." He stopped. "You do not get to make my body sentimental for you." He nodded once, ashamed. Good. Shame was appropriate. Across the room, Linda clinked a glass. "Everyone, thank you for coming to celebrate a miracle," Maya muttered. "Here we go." Linda smiled at Olivia. "In difficult seasons, true family reveals itself. Olivia has carried herself with grace under pressure, and we are honored to stand beside her and this precious baby." Applause. I did not move. Linda's eyes found me. "We hope today can also be a moment of healing. Some wounds come from misunderstanding, some from jealousy, but a child reminds us what matters." Meredith leaned close. "Your call." I waited. Olivia stood, one hand at her stomach. "I never wanted conflict," she said, voice trembling. "I know my pregnancy has been painful for some people." "For some people," Maya whispered. "I am going to bite someone. But this baby is innocent," Olivia continued. "And Ethan has been so supportive. The Walsh family has been so supportive. I just hope we can all move forward with love." Ethan's face tightened. He knew, maybe not all of it, but enough. He knew the language was wrong. He knew she was using him in front of everyone. He still did not stop her. That was the final confirmation I needed. Linda lifted a small wrapped box. "We also wanted to announce that Walsh Properties will be creating a family trust for the baby's future." My head turned slowly toward Ethan. He looked startled, not guilty. Startled. He did not know. Linda continued, glowing. "Because family protects family." I stood. The room quieted. Ethan closed his eyes. "Smart man. Before anyone creates a trust," I said, "you may want to know whose money Linda has been using to protect this family." Linda's smile froze. "Claire, this is not the time." "It never is." Meredith handed me the folder. I walked to the gift table and placed the financial summary beside a tower of cupcakes. "For the last 4 years I have paid Linda Walsh's condo fees, property taxes, medical bills, and personal credit expenses through monthly transfers. I have also guaranteed a line of credit for Walsh Properties and funded multiple household expenses charged by Ethan, including Olivia Reed's prenatal care." The room went dead silent. Someone whispered, "What?" Linda's face turned scarlet. "This is private family business. You invited me to a public lesson about family." I picked up the next page. "On the night I was hospitalized for a threatened miscarriage, Ethan left the ER at 8:04 p.m. to attend Olivia's first pregnancy celebration. At the time I was losing one twin. The surviving fetus remains under high-risk monitoring." A sound moved through the room. "Shock has a texture. It rustles." Olivia stood. "Why are you doing this?" I looked at her. "Because you keep asking people to pray for the wrong woman." Ethan's hands curled at his sides. Linda said, "Enough." "No," Meredith said quietly. "Let her finish." I removed the final page from the folder. I did not come here to debate Olivia's private life, but since Linda Walsh just announced a family trust based on assumptions Ethan himself has not verified, everyone should know Olivia was in a relationship with Noah Carter during the conception window and told him the baby was likely his before telling Ethan she was unsure. Olivia went white. The doors opened, Noah walked in. He did not make a dramatic entrance, he simply entered with a folder and a tired face. Olivia whispered, "No." Ethan turned toward her. "Tell me he is lying," she said. Nothing, the silence did more than evidence could. Noah stopped a few feet away. "I did not come to shame you," he said to Olivia, "but you don't get to use my child to take another woman's place." Linda grabbed the back of a chair. Ethan looked like the floor had vanished beneath him. Olivia's tears started. "Noah abandoned me," she said. "Ethan was kind, I was scared." Noah's face hardened. "You told me to stay away because Ethan's family had money." Gasps. Olivia turned to Ethan. "That is not true. I opened my phone and played the recording from the clinic parking lot. Ethan already chose me when it mattered." The words filled the ballroom. No one moved. Then Olivia's own voice continued. "You had years to give them a child, Claire, years." I stopped the recording. The quiet afterward was enormous. Ethan looked at me, not at Olivia, not at his mother, at me, and finally I saw understanding arrive too late. Linda sank into a chair. A cousin quietly put down a gift bag and backed away. One of Ethan's business partners walked out. Olivia whispered, "Claire, please." I looked at her belly. The baby was innocent. She was right about that at least, so I did not destroy the baby. I destroyed the lie around it. "Your child deserves adults who tell the truth," I said. "Start there." Then I turned to Linda. "My lawyer will contact you regarding repayment of personal transfers made under false pretenses." Linda's mouth opened and closed. I turned to Ethan last. "You wanted to celebrate her pregnancy while mine bled out. Now you can finish the party." I walked out before anyone could answer. Maya followed me into the hallway, laughing and crying at the same time. That was terrifying. I think I saw a man choke on a macaron. Meredith checked her phone. "Walsh Property CFO just emailed me." "Why?" "He wants to discuss your guarantee." I looked back once through the glass doors. Ethan stood alone in the center of the ruined baby shower. Olivia was crying. Linda was shaking. Noah was speaking to someone quietly. The balloons still floated overhead, cheerful and obscene. My phone buzzed. "Ethan, I am so sorry." I deleted the message, not because I had forgiven him, because I had heard enough. Ethan came to my apartment at sunrise. Not my house, not the Walsh house, my apartment above the studio. The one my father had kept for visiting artists and emergency solitude. I had moved there after the first hearing because the stairs were few, the locks were new, and no one in Ethan's family knew the code, or so I thought. He stood outside the building in yesterday's suit, hair damp from rain, face grey with exhaustion. Jonah called me from downstairs. "There is a man here who looks like regret wearing expensive shoes." I knew. "Tell him to leave." I did. He asked if he could wait. "Tell him waiting is not a personality." Jonah paused. "I like you better now." I almost smiled. 5 minutes later, Ethan texted through Meredith and directly, which violated nothing yet but irritated everyone. "Please, 10 minutes, I will stand in the street if I have to." Maya, who had slept over again because she claimed my couch was emotionally ergonomic, looked out the window. "He does look pathetic." "That is not a reason." "No, just an observation." I should not have gone down. Dr. Patel would have disapproved. Meredith would have disapproved. Maya did disapprove loudly, but there are endings the heart needs to hear in person before it stops waiting for a different version. I went downstairs with Maya 2 steps behind me. Ethan looked up when I opened the door. For a moment he did not speak. Rain darkened his coat. His eyes were red. In 6 years of marriage, I had seen Ethan tired, angry, charming, guilty, and afraid. I had rarely seen him stripped of performance. "I didn't know," he said. I kept one hand on the door. "About Olivia?" "About any of it?" "About my mother, about the money, about Olivia and Noah, about the things she said to you. You knew you left." He closed his eyes. "Yes, start there, stay there." His throat moved. I thought I could fix it. I thought if I explained, if I showed up, if I proved I wanted the baby. "You thought the wound was your absence, the wound was your choice." Rain tapped against the awning. He looked at my stomach. "Is she okay?" I don't know, I think of the baby as she. I hated that it hurt. "She is not information you are owed at my door." He nodded, tears spilling now. "I deserve that." No, I said, you don't deserve access to your own punishment either. My boundaries are not designed to educate you. He covered his face with one hand. I loved you. I believed him. That was the worst part. Ethan had loved me in the way weak people love, sincerely, until love required courage against comfort. He loved me when I made his life gentler. He loved me when forgiveness cost him nothing. He loved me when Olivia did not need him, when Linda was not watching, when my pain did not interrupt his need to be seen as good. It had been real, it had not been enough. I know, I said. His hand dropped. That answer broke him more than anger would have. I will sign whatever you need. He whispered, good, but please do not keep me from the baby forever. I looked at him for a long time. I am keeping you from my pregnancy. The court can decide what happens after birth. You will not be in delivery, you will not be at appointments, you will not receive updates from my doctors, you will not use my body as the place where you become a better man. He nodded, crying silently. And Ethan, yes, you will repay what you took. His face tightened, but he nodded again. Everything. No, I said, not everything. You can't repay everything, but you can repay the part with numbers. Behind me, Maya whispered. Damn, Ethan almost laughed. It came out as a broken breath. I miss you, he said. I miss who I was before I understood you. That ended the conversation. At Meredith's office later that morning, Ethan signed temporary financial agreements. He agreed to vacate any claim to my house. He agreed to cooperate in removing my trust guarantee from Walsh Properties' line of credit. He agreed to repay documented personal expenses charged without clear consent. He agreed to communicate only through counsel. He did not fight. Linda did. She called Meredith's office 6 times. She claimed the money had been gifts. She claimed I was punishing a grieving family. She claimed Ethan was not in his right mind. Meredith sent one letter, documentation attached. Linda stopped calling. Walsh Properties did not collapse in one dramatic afternoon. Real consequences rarely move like theater, they creep. Credit tightened. Investors asked questions. The CFO resigned. A partner requested review of all family-related expenses. Ethan stepped down from day-to-day operations pending restructuring. Olivia disappeared from social media. Noah filed to establish paternity after birth. Linda stopped posting prayers. My life grew quieter. At 28 weeks, I moved back into my house, not because I wanted the marriage back, because I wanted the house. Maya and Jonah helped repaint the nursery, not pink, not blue, soft green. Like new leaves after a hard winter, I assembled the crib myself until Maya caught me trying to lift a box and threatened to call Dr. Patel. Ethan sent one message through Meredith every 2 weeks. I hope you are both safe. I did not answer. At 32 weeks, my blood pressure rose. Dr. Patel frowned at the chart. We're watching this closely. I'm resting. Are you? I thought of the divorce papers, the financial statements, the nursery, the nights I woke reaching for a baby who was not there and protecting the one who was, as much as possible. She softened. You have survived a great deal. Survival is not always rest. At 34 weeks and 3 days, I woke at 3:12 a.m. with pain that did not stop. Maya drove like a criminal at the hospital. The nurse at registration asked, "Support person, Maya Bennett?" I said, "Anyone else allowed?" "No." She checked the privacy flag and nodded. In the elevator, Maya squeezed my hand. "You ready?" "No." "Good, honest answer." Dr. Patel met us in triage. The baby's heartbeat thundered from the monitor. Still there, still fighting. Then my phone buzzed. "Meredith, Ethan heard from insurance that you were admitted. He is asking to come." I closed my eyes. Another contraction rose, fierce and full. When it passed, I took the phone. "No, I sent it." Then I handed the phone to Maya. "Do not let him in." Her face changed. Not angry now, honored. "Never. Labor turns time into a liar. Minutes stretch, hours vanish. Pain folds the world down to breath. Body, command, inhale, hold. Push, wait again." Maya stayed at my left shoulder. Dr. Patel stood at the foot of the bed. A nurse named Renee counted through contractions with the firm kindness of someone who had seen women become warriors in terrible lighting. Outside the room, Ethan was somewhere in the hospital. I knew because Maya's phone kept lighting up with messages from Meredith. "He is in the lobby. Security has been notified. He is asking to speak with Dr. Patel. Hospital confirmed privacy restriction." Linda arrived. Of course she did. Maya read that one and laughed so sharply Renee looked up. "Everything okay? My sister's ex-mother-in-law has entered the building." Renee nodded as if this were a normal stage of labor. Security loves a hobby. I would have laughed if another contraction had not taken me apart. The baby was early, small, Stubborn Dr. Patel said we were prepared, NICU team on standby. Every sentence was calm, which told me the situation was serious. At some point, between pain and exhaustion, grief came back. Not for Ethan, for the baby who was not being born. Twin A, that was what the chart had called the one we lost. Clinical efficient, a label for a life so brief I had not known it existed until it was gone. I'm scared, I whispered. Maya leaned close. I know. What if I lose her too? You won't. You don't know that. No, she said, crying now. But I know you are not alone this time. That was the sentence that carried me. Not everything will be fine, not be strong, not forgive. You are not alone this time. Outside, a commotion rose, a male voice, Ethan's. Please just tell her I'm here. Maya's face hardened. Dr. Patel looked at Renee. Close the inner door. Renee did, the sound muffled. But I had heard enough. He was here. He was finally standing outside the right room and he could not enter. A contraction seized me before I could feel anything about that. Claire, Dr. Patel said, it's time. The next hour became fire. I pushed until my throat tore from sound. I pushed with Maya's hand crushed in mine. I pushed while Renee counted and Dr. Patel guided, and the monitor filled the room with the heartbeat that had survived when everything else broke. Then at 6:48 a.m. my daughter cried, small, fierce, furious, alive. The room blurred. Dr. Patel lifted her just long enough for me to see a red, wrinkled face and one tiny hand opening and closing as if she had arrived ready to argue. Baby girl, Dr. Patel said. She's breathing. Maya sobbed. I could not move. Renee placed my daughter against my chest for one brief, perfect moment before the NICU team assessed her. Her skin was warm. Her cry softened when my hand touched her back. Hi, I whispered. Hi, Nora. I had chosen the name at 20 weeks, Nora Bennett. Nora because it meant light, Bennett because my father had taught me love without ownership. She was smaller than I imagined, stronger too. The NICU team took her to a warmer and I watched every movement like my life depended on it. Maybe it did. Maya kissed my forehead. You did it. No, I said, watching Nora kick one tiny foot. We did. An hour later, when Nora was stable in the NICU, Meredith arrived with coffee for Maya and documents for me. Only Meredith would bring legal forms to postpartum recovery and somehow make it feel comforting. How are you? She asked. Empty, full, split in half, accurate. She sat beside the bed. Ethan is still downstairs. I closed my eyes. He knows. He knows a baby was born, nothing else. Good. Linda tried to demand access as the grandmother. I laughed so hard it hurt. Meredith smiled faintly. Security enjoyed that. Maya lifted her coffee. Security deserves donuts. Meredith handed me the birth worksheet. No pressure to complete everything now, but you asked me to bring this when you were ready. I looked at the form. Mother, Claire Elise Bennett, father, a blank line. My hand hovered. The law would have its processes. Ethan could file. Courts could decide legal parentage, visitation, support. I was not pretending biology vanished because my heart wanted it to. But this form, this first act, this first naming of my daughter's place in the world belonged to me. I wrote Nora Elise Bennett for father. I left the space blank pending legal determination. It was not revenge, it was accuracy. The nurse collected the form without comment. Maya cried again. Meredith looked out the window for a moment, giving me privacy. At noon, Ethan sent a letter through Meredith. Claire, I heard her cry from the hallway. I know I had no right to be there, but I could not stay away. I am glad she is alive. I am glad you are alive. I know that my absence brought us here. I know I cannot demand what I abandoned. Please tell Nora one day that I came. Ethan, I read it once, then I placed it in the folder beside all the other letters. Maya watched me. Are you going to tell her? Yes, I said. She looked surprised. When she is old enough, I will tell her the truth. Not to hurt her, to protect her from confusing longing with love. That evening, a nurse wheeled me to the NICU. Nora lay inside an incubator wearing a hat too large for her head. Tubes monitored her, lights warmed her, her tiny chest rose and fell. I slid my hand through the opening and touched her fingers. She gripped one, a thread of strength, a command. I leaned close. You are not a replacement for what I lost. I whispered. You are not proof that my pain was worth it. You are your own whole life. And I will not let anyone make you pay for their guilt. Behind me, the NICU doors opened. For one wild second, my body expected Ethan, but it was Maya, carrying my water bottle and wearing disposable shoe covers incorrectly. Your lawyer is scaring Linda in the lobby again, she whispered. I smiled. Outside the locked doors, Ethan waited in a hallway he could not cross. Inside, my daughter held my finger. For the first time since the hospital night, I felt the future not as a threat, but as a room I could enter, and this time I held the key. Divorce does not end a marriage in one clean cut. It ends in signatures, revised drafts, waiting periods, financial disclosures, forwarded emails, and the strange grief of seeing 6 years reduced to clauses. Petitioner shall retain sole ownership of premarital property. Respondent shall cooperate in removal of petitioner's trust guarantee. Respondent acknowledges unauthorized personal charges. Parties shall communicate through counsel regarding matters related to minor child pending legal determination. Minor child Nora was 6 weeks old when the divorce became final. She had come home from the NICU after 17 days, tiny and furious and deeply opposed to sleep. The nursery smelled like clean cotton, and the lavender detergent Maya insisted was emotionally elite. Jonah brought soup. Dr. Patel sent a card. Meredith sent a baby blanket and an email reminding me to update my estate documents. Practical women save lives. Ethan saw Nora for the first time in a supervised setting arranged by counsel. Not in my home, not in my hospital room, not as a reward for regret. A family services office with beige walls, a rocking chair, and a social worker named Grace who had no patience for drama. I arrived with Maya and Nora in her carrier. Ethan was already there. He stood when he saw us. The sight of him looking at Nora was almost too much. His face broke open, not performative, not polished, just love and loss arriving at the same time. She's so small, he whispered. She's growing. Grace explained the rules. 30 minutes, no photos without my consent, no discussion of adult conflict, no touching Nora unless I agreed. Ethan listened like a man in church. I lifted Nora from the carrier and held her against my chest. Ethan's hands trembled. May I? He asked. The old Claire might have heard humility and mistaken it for transformation. The new Claire heard a request. Requests could be answered. Not today. Pain crossed his face, but he nodded. Okay. He sat 2 feet away and looked at his daughter as if looking could hold her. Nora yawned. Ethan laughed once, a broken sound. She has your mouth. She has her own mouth. He looked at me then nodded. Right. That was the only moment I almost cried, not because I wanted him back, because I could see the life we might have had if he had been braver, sooner. A life where he held our daughter in a hospital room. A life where our lost baby was mourned by both parents. A life where Olivia was a mistake confessed before it became a weapon. But almost is not enough to build a home. After the visit, he walked us to the parking lot. Claire, I turned. Thank you for letting me see her. It was arranged legally. No, he swallowed. Still, thank you. I buckled Nora into the car seat. He stood there, unsure what to do with his hands. Olivia had the baby, he said. I paused. Noah's. Yes, DNA confirmed after birth. I nodded. And your mother? His mouth tightened. She moved in with my sister. By choice. No. I almost smiled. Walsh Properties had survived, but not as a Walsh kingdom. The board forced a restructuring after my guarantee was withdrawn and personal expenses were reviewed. Ethan remained employed, but no longer in control. Linda sold her condo to cover debts and repayments. Olivia lost the Walsh family the second she stopped being useful to their fantasy. Noah filed for shared custody and financial responsibility for his son. No one got a clean ending. They got the endings they built. Ethan looked at Nora through the car window. I keep thinking about that night, he said. So do I. I hear you saying don't leave. I said nothing. I hear myself leaving anyway. That is yours to carry. He nodded, tears in his eyes. Do you hate me? I thought about it once. I had wanted to hate him. Hate seemed stronger than grief, cleaner, but hate still required carrying him. No, his face lifted, fragile with hope. I closed the door gently. I don't hate you. I don't love you. I don't organize my life around you anymore. Hope died, but something else settled in its place. Understanding, finally. I know, he said. Goodbye, Ethan. He did not ask me to come back. Maybe he had learned one thing at home. Maya was assembling a baby swing with the focus of an engineer and the skill of a raccoon. This manual is insulting me, she announced. Nora slept in her bassinet, one fist tucked under her chin. I stood in the doorway and watched them. My house was not quiet anymore. It had bottles on the counter, burp cloths on chairs, legal folders in the office, and a stroller blocking the hallway. It had grief too. Some nights, after Nora slept, I opened the small box where I kept the ultrasound image of the twins. 2 little shapes, one future, one goodbye. I let myself mourn both. I did not turn one child into a cure for losing another. I did not turn survival into a reason to forgive betrayal. I did not turn motherhood into a prison. 3 months later, I reopened the studio full-time with a new childcare schedule, a revised trust, and a firm policy that no client emergency could make me disappear from my own life. Bennett Restoration expanded into the ground floor space. Jonah became operations manager. Maya joked that Nora was the real boss because meetings ended when she screamed. One afternoon, I restored a smoke-damaged portrait of a woman in a green dress. Under layers of soot, her face emerged slowly, not untouched, not new but clear. I understood that. Linda sent one letter when Nora was 5 months old. Not an apology, a defense. I did what I thought was best for my family. I did not answer. Olivia sent nothing. Noah sent updates through legal channels when relevant because adults can learn boundaries if the court charges enough per hour. Ethan sent cards for Nora. Simple ones, no pressure, no messages to me hidden inside. I saved them in a box labeled from Ethan for Nora, because my daughter deserved her own choices one day, not a history edited by my pain. But when he sent me a message on the anniversary of the hospital night, I almost did not open it. Claire, I am not asking for anything. 1 year ago I left you alone in the worst moment of your life. I have tried to find language big enough for what I did. There is none. I am sorry for leaving. I am sorry for making you beg. I am sorry for treating your strength as permission to fail you. I am sorry for the child we lost and the child I did not protect. You do not have to answer. I just needed to say it without asking you to comfort me, Ethan. I read it sitting on the nursery floor while Nora chewed the ear of a stuffed rabbit. Then I put the phone down. Nora crawled into my lap. Mama, she said, or something close enough to make me gasp. I cried then, not for Ethan, not for the marriage, for the woman in the hospital bed who thought being abandoned meant she had been unworthy of staying for. I wished I could go back to her. I wished I could sit beside her before Dana brought the forms. I wished I could tell her that one day, the door would open and the person coming through it would not be the man who left, it would be herself, stronger, clearer, holding a child with her last name and a life no longer built around waiting. I picked up Nora and carried her to the window. Outside, the hydrangeas had bloomed blue again. My ring finger was bare, my arms were full. For the first time in years, nothing in my life belonged to someone who had mistaken access for love. Ethan left me alone during my miscarriage to celebrate her pregnancy, so I removed him from mine, not from biology, not from consequence, from the room where my body made decisions, from the forms where my fear needed a witness, from the accounts where my labor disappeared, from the house where my grief had been expected to make space for another woman's joy, from the future I was building. And when the life I carried finally arrived, she did not enter a marriage full of ghosts. She entered a home with locks that worked, a mother who knew how to say no, and a name no one could take from her.